the negotiations started with Thabo Mbeki as being the chief negotiator and Jacob Zuma being the head of intelligence. When both Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki were outside the country, actually traveling with President Nelson Mandela, Ramaphosa called a meeting of the National Executive. He used those friends and cronies of his who he had brought into the NEC to pull off a coup. They removed Thabo Mbeki as the chief negotiator for the CODESA negotiations. They removed Jacob Zuma as the head of intelligence. And Ramaphosa imposed himself as the head of negotiations from hence on. That was always the plan. And that plan unfolded beautifully for them once he managed to pull off that coup in the National Executive Committee of the ANC. And then he formed a very, very close, insidious relationship with the chief negotiator of the National Party, Rolf Meyer. And between the two of them, they made the secret deals, they made the arrangements behind the scenes, and then they came and presented those deals, those arrangements in the public domain of CODESA. They manipulated the situation, and eventually we ended up with this deeply flawed constitution that we have today, with a negotiating process that granted the sunset clauses, which meant that the white apartheid apparatchiks, those who were part of the government of the old apartheid regime, had their jobs secured. That is what the sunset clauses meant. It also included in the constitution a clause that gave property rights, guaranteed property rights. Now, how on earth do you guarantee property rights in a country where you know the colonial history of this country is that white colonists came to South Africa and stole the land from the indigenous people? But you go and introduce a property rights clause in the Constitution that now cements, secures those stolen properties as a right for those white colonists. And that is the kind of sell-out project that I keep on talking about.